Okay. So the last verse of Sadhana Panchakam. Ekante sukham asyatam paratare chetas samadhiyatam purnatma susamikshyatam jagadidam tadbadhitam drisyatam prakarma pravilapyatam chitibalanapyuttaraishlishyataam prarabdham tviha bhujyatam atha param brahmatmanasthiyataam. So, Kalpaka, it's very nice you introduced that gentle modification on the third verse, third line.
ஆக்சுவலா 2-3 பார்த்தேன் இதுல இன்டர்நெட்ல. அண்ட் தென் இது கொஞ்சம் இதை விட கொஞ்சம் இதுவா இருந்தது. சோ கொஞ்சம் லைட்டா இம்ப்ரோவைஸ் பண்ணேன்.
Very nice. It is very nice. That improvisation is, it sounds very good. So, ekante sukham asyatam. See, yesterday we were we were doing Mahishasura Mardini also. We somehow touched upon this idea. And today Adi Shankara, Bhagavan Adi Shankara is mentioning the same thing. He's saying ekante sukham asyatam, which means ekante means in isolation find joy. Ekante sukham asyatam paratare chetas samadhiyatam. After that, chetah samadhiyatam. Establish your mind in samadhi. So, actually, this is a very tricky situation, particularly for so when we age and there is very little to really do in the world, at that time ekanta can become not a blessing, but it can feel like a curse, right? When you're amidst activities and you're amidst people and you're busy and things are happening and you have to run in the world to do what you want to do, what you have to do, the wants and the haves just keep running. At that time, whenever you find ekanta, it feels so joyful. You feel apadi, got some peace, right? We all know. So Gayatri, when the kids are doing something else, I can imagine the kind of peace she will experience. Kalpaka, when the kids are, or when Kalpaka is going to office, maybe she finds a little peace there.
I actually ran away to Appa's place to record this.
See,
10
there you
minutes.
go. So, why does that happen at that time is because we are constantly looking for peace and some kind of silence and isolation, but we don't want that all the time also. We don't want all the time, because if somebody comes and if you and also be, so I'm telling the ones who are much younger now and very busy in life, and you're saying, ayyo enak nimmadiye illa, I'm not getting peace, I'm not getting time, I'm not getting this, that and the other. If you ask a lot of that, then suddenly if all of that is given to you, you will not know what to do with that peace and isolation also, right? Because we know of stories where people ran away to places of isolation like the Himalayas and then came back running because they didn't know how to manage. Silence can be very, very
Deafening.
so deafening is the right one word. Silence can be deafening. It's an oxymoron. But silence can be really troublesome. Too much of silence, because we resonate or we associate silence with death in many ways, right? For us, when everything is very silent, there is a certain fear also that comes in. That's why we also sometimes say dead silent, right?
தமிழ்ல கூட மயான அமைதின்னு
மயான அமைதி, correct. மயான அமைதி, dead silence.
பட் மயானத்துல அவ்வளவு அமைதியா இருக்காது.
So the mind problem that happens in silence is that the mind goes into so many different things and places where we will not be able to control it. When we are engaged in activity, you know, the mind is into like 5 things, for example, right? You're doing this, you're thinking that, and then you're thinking that, maybe like 4 or 5 things, but you're also busy doing something. But when you're silent and then absolutely nothing to do and absolutely silent, the mind goes into a million different ways. There's one episode I remember of in Mahabharata. Shantanu comes and Shantanu falls in love with Matsyagandha, right? Matsyagandhi. Um, and then he takes time off from his kingdom and comes and visits her often and spends time with her. And he says it is so peaceful, so nice and relaxing and joyful to be here with you and spend this peaceful time, because it's all humdrum. Back at the kingdom, I'm just wrapped up with so many things that I need to do. So it feels so peaceful to be here. But Matsyagandha or Satyavati is a very ambitious lady. She is very ambitious and she's wanting to marry the king and she's wanting to have offsprings who will rule the kingdom, right? This is the Bhishma Pratigna story we all know. So Satyavati says, when king says this to Satyavati, that it's so peaceful, I feel like I want to just settle down here. And Satyavati says, those who have wealth, those who have everything that they want, they look for peace. Those who only have peace and silence, they look for all of this. It's a very profound, in a way, that's the human nature. It's very profound in the sense that the human nature is like that. Satyavati recognized her ambition. And of course, many, many years later, she also felt remorse because of her ambition. The whole Kula or the clan had to go through what it went through. But the Ekante, in Ekanta, he says, Sukham Asyatam, find joy. So, which means the issue is we cannot look for Ekanta as a solace from something. When we look for this silence or peace or isolation as a solace from something else, then when this is given in its totality, we will not be able to bear it. Understand this. This is important when we are particularly very busy in life. We should try to look for ekanta even then, which means not as a solace, but as a practice. So we have to practice being alone. We have to practice being in isolation. We have to practice being silent. So that when we are in a situation when you have to be silent, you know what it means to be silent. You're not too worried about it. So, and then the thing is, although we say in silence, you just be silent, there is nothing to do, don't do anything, do nothing, but it's not easy to do nothing. So then he says, Chetas Samadhiyatam. After that, Paratare, Chetas Samadhiyatam means bring your mind into a state of samadhi. And samadhi is not a state of doing nothing, it is a state of being in nothing. Okay, again, I made a quote. Samadhi is not a state of doing nothing. Samadhi is a state of being in nothing. Being in nothing means you are not being in a thing, you are being in no thing. There is no thing there, but you are being in a certain space of consciousness, a certain space of awareness. You are being. And it doesn't mean, so being there learning to be in a state of awareness versus doing nothing, a big difference. When we say do nothing, the immediate next thing that comes to us is boredom. How can I be doing nothing? It feels so boring. But being in samadhi will not feel boring, because you are so alert and aware of the condition, present situation, and the present moment as it moves. You are aware of the movement of the present moment. Constantly you're aware. And when you become constantly aware of the movement of the present moment, there is nothing to be bored of, because you are in the present, which is constantly moving also. There is a new present now. 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 And when we become aware of this new birth of the new present, and you are in that complete awareness of that new present, that is samadhi. So you are at the birth of the present moment all the time. There will be no boredom. In fact, if you think of God as this creator, which is existing, so if you want to conceptualize the idea of God, understand that God as a principle is also evolving every moment now. This moment that exists now has never ever existed ever before. There's one way of looking at it, right? Of course, there are stories in the Bhagavatam, etc., where you go through multiple cycles and then it says, oh, this thing is repeated again and again. Like there is a story where Hanuman goes to locate the ring of Rama to give to Sita, and then there he finds millions of rings. And then Narada or someone tells him, do you think you are the first Hanuman? There have been so many Hanumans, there have been so many Ramayanas. So many things have happened again and again and again. But in our experience, I'm saying, in our experience, to think about this as this moment has never ever occurred before. And there is a freshness to every moment. Then there is no boredom. We feel the heaviness of repetitiveness. The repetition, the heaviness of repetition is what we feel as boredom. Like they say, those masters, gurus, they also sit and listen to Vedanta. Ramana Maharshi sat and listened to the Vedas and the Vedanta. Because when he's listening to that time, at that moment, it is a fresh new Vedanta. He is established in that understanding. But to be able to receive knowledge every time as a fresh knowledge, as a fresh piece of understanding, you can be very busy with that. Actually, you can be very busy, but this requires training. That is why Sadhana Panchakam. Sadhana is required to get to a place where we become aware and there is no boredom. Today, these days, you look at children, they start saying that ayyo bore adikirudhu. And I'm so surprised. When you grow older, maybe you go through this and you see so much of this and you don't know what, and there is boredom can set in, right? Because our conditions are such. But kids are now starting to say bore adikirudhu. Because even kids don't practice being sometime in silence, because the parents don't. They don't see the parents being in silence, in isolation, in meditation. So the more the child sees some of these around, it slowly picks on it. It'll pick on it and it'll also try to imbibe that Because this being able to be and just be and sit and observe is a great exercise, great sadhana in itself. Eckhart Tolle is, he is still living. He is a German philosopher. He has written a book called The Power of Now, a very, very popular book. And then he wrote another one called The New Earth. So he describes this process of realization, how it happened to him. And then when he says when this shift in consciousness happened in him, after that period of time he was living in London or probably somewhere in the UK. He would go and sit in the park and just observe for a few hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. He'll sit and just observe. We go to a stream, if you go to the beach, we should just sit and observe the waters for a little while. It is not that beach, you go to the beach, oh, it's so windy, it's so beautiful, it's so nice, I want to play a song, I want to do a dance, I want to take some photos and post it. No, just observe. You go to a park, just sit 15 minutes, 20 minutes, practice. You are doing this as a practice, remember. As a sadhana, if you inculcate this activity of sitting and not specifically doing anything, just observing and being in that time and moment. Not processing, saying that, oh, this garden is so beautiful, or this park is so beautiful, every day I should come. But every day, what time should I come? Sun is already out. It's so beautiful. I want to make like this. But morning, if I come, what happens to breakfast? So you're processing all of that, and you're losing being in the moment there. So we should practice telling our mind, shut up. வாய மூடு. எல்லாரும் சுத்தி இருக்கிறவாளெல்லாம் சொல்றோம்ல. We tell people around us, we should tell our minds, shut up. Gently. Otherwise it will revolt. It will bring all sorts of things back to you. So then Bhagavan Adi Shankara is saying that also. He's saying Purna Atma Su Samikshatam Jagadidam Tadbadhitam Drishyatam. So stay in this Purnatma, and recognize this Tadbadhitam Drishyatam. Look at this finite world. Look at the finitude of this world. The finiteness of everything that you're experiencing as your life, as the world around you, as the people, it's all finite. Your situation, your conditions, everything is finite. You've gone through so many changes. Finite. Everything that you're experiencing are finite. So this, experience this. And he's saying, Drishyatam, look at this. Look at it means what? Look at it with complete attention. When you're see the temporariness of things and the movement in things. See the movement. When you're sitting in a beach, you see things are coming and going. Waves are coming and going. Nothing is static. People are coming and going. Dogs, animals coming and going. Wind is coming and going. Trees are moving and then standing still. Again moving. All of this is happening. So you see you see pattern, repeatedly things are happening. But you also see that the first time when the tree moved and the next time the tree moves, it's not the same. It is just that we are not sensitive enough to see that and notice. We say that, oh, tree has moved. Oh, wind is blowing. Right? It takes a certain amount of practice to be able to get to that observation, to say that there are things that are happening every moment. It is a fresh happening. So this becomes, as a practice you do, then ekante sukham asyatam. Then there is a certain level of sukha that is derived in ekanta. when you're going and sitting in isolation. And also this isolation can be practiced even when you're amongst people and very busy. Try this out. Go to a party even if you don't like it, right? If somebody says you must come, your husband says, your wife says, no, office lo padra, year end we must go, I can't be a spoil sport, blah, blah, blah. Go. And try to be silent in that noise. Try to be silent in that noise.
இந்த ஆஃபீஸ் பார்ட்டிலாம் அப்பதான் நானும் எவ்வளோ பேசாம உட்காந்து எல்லாரையும் பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கோம். Everybody, what they're doing, how much of falsity,
Correct.
all these things.
Pretense.
நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி குருஜி, repetitiveness will push people into boredom. நம்ம திரும்ப திரும்ப அதே பண்ணும்போது என்னடா அது அப்படின்ட்டு என்கிட்ட கூட நிறைய பேர் கேட்பாங்க, are you not bored with this? தினம் காத்தலா ஆஃபீஸ் வர சாயங்காலம் போற, are you not bored அப்படின்னு. I used to tell them I never get bored because each day is a new one. And if you observe the nature, yeah, sun rises, goes down, sun rises, goes down. Moon abhi venarudhu, again it goes up. Purnami, Amasa, everything is going in the same rhythm. There's a rhythm in that. And it's a repetitive process, same thing. And the nature never gets bored.
Correct.
When we observe all these things, we also feel that this is not boredom. There's something new. ஒரு நல்லா அப்சர்வ் பண்ணணும்னா நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி அந்த அப்சர்வேஷன் இஸ் வெரி மச் ரிக்வயர்ட். இன்னைக்கு சூரியன் வந்து இந்த மலைக்கு உச்சிலேருந்து வந்தாரு, நான் இன்னைக்கு நேற்றுக்கு வந்து உச்சிலேருந்து வந்தா இன்னைக்கு கொஞ்சம் பக்கத்துல நவுந்துட்டாரு. This is a new thing.
Yes.
You have feeling that it's something new. It's a new day.
Correct.
அப்படி பார்க்கும்போது it is not repetitive. It's not boredom.
Absolutely. Absolutely true. Thank you, Mama, for that. Yes. And that happens when you are off-burdened. When we, the problem we are not able to notice some of these things is because we are wanting to get to the next thing. I don't know. Hello? No, this happens because, am I audible? This happens because we are wanting to move to the next thing. So when we go to the park or the beach or looking at the sunrise, we are thinking about the next thing. We are not, even though for 5 minutes, it will be good to just pay attention to that thing and then move on to the next thing. Get busy. I'm saying do this as a sadhana. If you are not able to inculcate it in our activities, do this as a sadhana, separately keep 15-20 minutes or 30 minutes in a day and say that I'm going to turn off everything, move everything out. Just do this. Right? This practice, if we don't do when we can, we won't be able to do when we can't. Which means physically you won't, when you can't do some of these things, when you try to do that, at that time you'll not be able to also. Right? Ram, when there is some physical ability to train yourself for silence, for bringing yourself to some quietude, some isolation, practice all of this so that when you get to a point when this is forced upon you, you know to deal with it graciously. Right? You know to deal with it graciously. So we are saying that whether we practice it amidst groups of people or parties, wherever, or in isolation, it is important to practice. And it's also important to practice in isolation because there will be times you will be in isolation. And at that time, if you're not prepared for it, it will only cause fear. It will cause anxiety. It will cause anxiety. And we will not be able to deal with that anxiety. Right? It will cause hysteria. It will cause hysteria. It will cause hallucinations. Because we're not practiced. So we have to practice this. Very important. Go to some isolated places, some silent places. and try to practice being in solitude. Then he says, Purnatma susamiksyatam jagadidam tadbadhitam drishyatam. See the finiteness of this creation, this world, this whatever is your experience also. Prakarma pravilapyatam chitibalan api uttarehi shlishyatam. So the now he is talking about the 3 types of karma that we carry. One is the sanchita karma, prak karma. He says from the prak karma, pravilapyatam, shake off, move yourself out, disengage. Now, something that is difficult for us, what he's saying here is something we can't differentiate between sanchita karma. There are 3 types of karma, right? One is sanchita karma, which is the storehouse of karma that we carry from lifetime to lifetime. The karma phala, be it papa phala or punya phala, whatever. That we carry from lifetime to lifetime. The impressions or our vasanas that we carry, the total storehouse of it. That is the sanchita karma. Prarabdha karma, the next one he says, prarabdham tviha bhujyatam. Prarabdham is the subset of the total storehouse that we bring into this lifetime. This storehouse, or from the storehouse, we bring some amount of prarabdha karma in this lifetime to exhaust. And then there are new karmas that we create in this lifetime. That's called agami karma. Agami karma. This agami karma is something that we create right here, right now, through our actions, our deeds, our thoughts. These are 3 types of karma. Now he says all the 3 types of karma, try to escape from them. Now for us, it may be a little difficult to classify and qualify these from our experience standpoint, because for us, all that we know is we understand this. There is sanchita, there is prarabdha. We try to stay away from creating agami. Which means what? We do the things that don't create necessary ripples in the future. Too many negative ripples for us. Karma is like creating, you put a stone in the water, it creates a ripple. And ripples. Right? And ripples are always something that will cause disturbance to your steady state or your silence. So you create a ripple, you put a stone now, it will create a ripple for the future. Right? If you have caused a lot of angst to people, mental angst to people, you are bound to have mental agony in the future. So being sensitive, being the word he is using is there's one word he's using here, saying what is this? Remove, vilapanam, to remove. Is remove pravilapyatam, to remove or to shake off or drop, means disengage. See, the way we must see as a sadhaka, I think the most important thing, I think maybe these 2 lines are saying is you have to do your karma, but at the same time also keep looking for opportunities to shake it off. Don't engage so much in the world that shaking it off becomes very difficult later. If you're too engaged in the world, it will be very difficult to rip yourself. And it will come in some form or the other. A lot of people, when they grow older, they'll realize that even in the old age, they are not able to have the peace and nimadi, or the solace, or the samadhi. Why is that? Because there's so much of involvement and so much of engagement. Now, pulling yourself out becomes very difficult. So what we end up doing, we create the same environment that we have been in wherever we go. Even if you take to sannyasa ashrama, you go and create the same environment that you have during your grihastha ashrama. What is the point? Which means you create the same kind of environment where you are, but you're just probably changing the title. You're probably changing, in a way, you're changing your profession or the things you do. But you're kind of creating a similar environment. Attachment, people, activity, engagement, involvement. Disengage. Wherever possible, disengage. So, in terms of summary, this particular verse is saying, Ekante sukhamasyatam paratare chetas samadhiyatam purnatma susamikshyatam jagadidam tadbadhitam drishyatam prakarma pravilapyatam chitibalan napyuttaraishlisyatam prarabdham tviha bhujyatam atha parabrahmatmana sthiyatam. Establish yourself in Parabrahman. And so this happens through regular practice. So engage in karma, but don't be careful of not creating more karma. Always go back to the Jadabharata story. We have said this story many times from Bhagavatam. The Jadabharata story, always go back to that. He tried to Jakradaya Irkanam appadinu solli Nochur Swami tells in his talk. Jagrat raho appadinu watchman la India la the watchmen will go around. It'll feel funny.
Jagte hi raho.
Jagte hi raho. So it'll be funny because you are supposed to sleep. I have given you salary and I've put you there to do that, and you are telling me to be jagte raho.
லாஸ்ட் இதுல நொச்சூர் சுவாமி சொன்னது வந்து ஜாகிரத அவஸ்தால ஜாகிரதையா இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு.
ஜாகிரதையா இருக்கணும். Correct. During the Jagrata Avastha, be watchful, be careful not to create newer karmic structures, because you're trying to shake off, right? When your attempt is to shake off existing ones, be watchful not to create new ones. To that extent, engage. That extent, be involved. To that extent, know this. This is very important. All of this is about awareness only. I can lose my awareness and life took me this way, life took me that way, what to do, this happened, that happened. We can keep talking all of that. Like they say, till the cows come home, right? We can keep talking all of this. And saying, oh, you know, this happened, oh, my life, you know, nobody will understand what I went through in my life. You can keep crying out all of this, but it will not lead us anywhere. So Sadhana Panchakam, that way, is about bringing our minds and establishing the necessity of sadhana. Whichever sadhana we pick up, we do that, small to big. And again, as we've spoken in the past also, we pick up mandala sadhana. Sadhana during doing it through a structure of a mandala is very effective, because during that time you're focusing yourself on certain things that you're going to do. Like beautifully now, Margari month. So Margari month, pick up some sadhana and do 30 days. I want to do. Now after this, we're going to do the yatra chanting. So yatra is a period. So saying 42 days from here now to the yatra. Mandala. So we'll do some sadhana for the yatra. Navaratri comes, 9 nights. Something we do during the 9 nights, the 9 day and nights, that period. There are many such occasions during the year where you can align yourself to some of these dates to do your sadhana, or you can pick up your own free will dates, because depending on, oh, this period, I think there'll be less amount of pressure, stress from the family, from work, etc. I want to take 5 days off, 10 days off. We do vacations, right? When you do vacation with your family, why don't you internally take a sadhana for yourself? You don't have to tell anybody. It's not like, okay, now it is sadhana period, board you don't have to do all that, right? Sadhana is essentially trying to establish within yourself the way you want to live your life. Zakir Hussain gave a beautiful explanation to sadhana, right? Zakir Hussain, who just passed away recently, great musician, great maestro, a tabla maestro, passed away recently. And Kavita was playing a video of an interview of his several years ago. And somebody asked him, because you talk about Riyaz in Urdu is sadhana. This is what is sadhana. And then he says, oh, sadhana is a great film actress. He starts saying that. And then he summarizes to say, starts with a joke, but then he summarizes to say that sadhana is your effort in the direction of wanting to create a life that you want to live for yourself. That effort is sadhana. Could be in anything. But if we have come to the path of spiritual understanding, spiritual recognition, spiritual pursuit, then our sadhana should be in this direction, right? The sadhana should be in this direction where we try to establish our minds and body and everything in a way to in that direction of that pursuit. So whatever time, so as I was saying, if you're going on a vacation with family, within yourself, pick up some time. Okay, now this period I'm taking time off with my family. 10 days I got. I'm going on a vacation to some place, some exotic place. Fine, but nobody stops you from picking up a sadhana within you, saying, okay, next 10 days I'm going to do this chant, this dhyana, this mantra, this japa, this whatever, this thing. Or I'm going to listen to, in the next 10 days, I'm going to listen to this upanyasam. Right? When you go on a vacation, you can do that. So I'm saying these are things that we inculcate. Okay. So with that, we come to a closure of Sadhana Panchakam. It's a very important text. We can repeatedly look at it, read it, and remind ourselves the importance of sadhana. And we weave sadhana into our daily affairs. Sadhana is not something that we do probably weekly once or monthly once or only during a period. No, we continue to weave that into our daily activity. And if you're taking a break from sadhana, let us also be aware that we are taking a break from sadhana. We are saying, okay, the next 10 days, I'm going to just chill out, not do anything. Because that's also effort. Sadhana is also effort. So I'm not going to put in any effort. That's okay. Because when you come back, you'll come back with the renewed energy. Right? Because you need energy to do sadhana also. Your mind needs to be in the right place. You need to have the right kind of resources within you to do that. So that also is an okay thing. But whatever it takes, yogarato va, bhogarato va, sangarato va, sangavihina. Yasya chittam ramate, yasya ramani, how does that go, Mama?
Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam.
The Brahmani. Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam Nandati Nandatyeva. So yoga rato va bhoga rato va. You do through yoga, you do through bhoga, doesn't matter. Do with people, sangha rato va sangha vihina. Do in isolation. எப்படி வேணாலும் பண்ணி தொலை அப்படிங்கிறது. எப்படி வேணாலும் பண்ணி தொலை, but get to that point within yourself. So that is the summary of Sadhana Panchakam. So we'll close that. Next week, most likely next week or the following week, we'll see. We'll start with Kulashekara Alvar's Mukunda Mala Stotram. Most likely next week. But I just want to see if next week is what, 28th, right? Yeah, should be okay, I think. So we'll see. I'll drop a note in the group. And I'll also send the Mukunda Mala Stotram that we will go through. Yeah, it's a beautiful work. And it's Margari Masam also, so it'll be nice to start this. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyerva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayati Samarpayami Sadashivayati Samarpayami Jagadambikayati Samarpayami Sadgurunathayati Samarpayami Hari Om Tat Sadguru Yo Namah. Hari Om, thank you.